All right, almost there. Hang in there with me. Meet Matt. I've known Matt for about a year. He got a degree in arts 5 years ago, and he worked in market research. He recently got laid off, and he's trying to figure out what to do with his life now. He's looking at all these great startups and wants to be a designer. But every time he looks at a job opening, he finds out that he does not have the right skill sets to apply for a job. And he cannot afford to go back to school. He's already in debt and paying back his college loans. So what Matt is doing, Matt is looking at the numerous resources available today to learn skills in design and development, so he can make his dream come true and apply for a tech job. That's where LearningJar comes in. LearningJar is helping Matt find the best resources, the subject matter experts that he can learn from, prove that he's learning these skill sets, and share that with his potential employers, so he can now get a job of his dream. And it's very easy. Matt is right now in LearningJar. He's one of the very few lucky people who has an early invite. We just launched our closed beta, and today we are releasing our new design. So let's assume that Matt wants to learn how to create a logo design. And this is shared by lynda.com, which provides design and development skills to over 40 million users worldwide. And lynda.com has opened up their curriculum for free on LearningJar. So anyone can come learn how to design a logo for free on LearningJar. So let's just assume that Matt picks up the first video that he wants to go through and learn how to design a logo. And Christy here, my co-founder, is going to pretend that she's Matt today. And in the interest of time, let's assume that he has watched the video, and he'll provide some feedback if he liked it or not, and what did he learn from the video. And this is the most important part for LearningJar. We are here to collect the informal data that hasn't been collected yet, to figure out what are the best resources out there to learn from, and share that with other people so you don't have to go searching for the best resources yourself. So for Matt, he's done with that skill. And if he goes to the rest of the curriculum, it's a bite-sized curriculum. It takes him around 3 hours to learn how to create his logo. And he can actually take on a challenge posted by lynda.com to prove that he has learned that skill. In this case, Matt has already taken the challenge. So we'll assume that he wants to retake it. He designed a new logo. He has it on his Behance. So he's just going to copy that and easily just paste that on LearningJar. So what happens is when he puts that on LearningJar, the entire LearningJar community can see what logo design he has done. And this is just one example. If he has any questions, he can actually ask the community, and this is one of the new features we just added. So he can talk to other people and not feel alone while he's learning these skill sets. So now if you go to Portfolio, oh, I guess he has a question to ask. What does that? Okay, what do you think? Great. So if you go to the portfolio, now you can see all the great skills Matt has been developing over time, what skills are in progress, and whoa, look, there's a skill that he actually created that's in the bottom there. Let's click on that. So he comes from a marketing research background, and he had lots of great resources that he had seen that he thought other people could use. So he quickly created a path on LearningJar that other people can use to show off their marketing research skills. So this is just on LearningJar. Matt can easily share this outside of LearningJar. If you go to his LinkedIn profile, you'll see how he can share his jar, my LearningJar, and now potential employers are seeing the skills he's developing on an ongoing basis, where he is in the process, and hire him for the skills that he knows he's done. So this is an example of how LearningJar is helping millions of users today. And Matt is just one example. With his LearningJar, he's proving that he has learned the skills and getting the jobs of his dream. And as I said, Matt is just one example. And he's a person with no job. He's trying to reskill himself. But look at the professional development market, or the students or new graduates who are learning new skills on an ongoing basis. We are launching with great education partners at hand, that whatever skill you learn on their platform easily comes into LearningJar. So you don't have to go to disparate learning sources to learn from. All your learning needs can be solved at LearningJar today. So come try us out. In terms of lessons learned, we had tons of lessons we have learned so far in the past year of LearningJar. One of the big ones is that people are not interested in courses. They're interested in learning skills. We found that out with 2 ways. First, our users. When we talked to the users, they said that they usually, whenever they take online courses, they never finish them. They just solve a problem they need to solve and then move on. We also talked to our partners like O'Reilly Partners and Lynda.com, and they said that people come to their sources and don't finish entire courses. So therefore, at LearningJar, we're focusing on helping you solve your problems today and learning the skill sets you need, not just courses. The second lesson, I'm showing Justin Bieber because this is the best example I could find. At age 10, he self-taught himself how to play guitar and used a social media site like YouTube to show off his skills. These are the learners we're dealing with today. We have a 17-year-old social media marketing person who's helping us at LearningJar. There's a new front-end developer who dropped out of school at 16 and started teaching himself skills, and he's applying for a position at LearningJar. We know these kids are learning from outside sources. What they need is the best place so they can find their resources, share it with other people, and prove that they're learning these skills.
Great.
So
let's hear it for LearningJar.
lessons.
Well done. Okay, so feedback from our judges. What did you guys think?
Don't you have to pay for a subscription to Lynda.com?
You do. So Lynda.com, and I think some of the partners that we are working with are paid, some of them are non-paid. So we are just focused on getting the best resources to you.
So are you basically a directory of other people's content?
We are pointing people to the right resources that can link.
And
Sounds
then
like
they get a badge for completing any certain course.
Yes. So if you get a badge from Code School, that automatically comes into your LearningJar, and we consolidate all that information.
Is it so hard to find all this content? And isn't someone who's looking for how to design a logo pretty different from someone who wants to be Justin Bieber or whatever it is?
Yeah. That's a good question. So it's definitely, right now, if you look at content itself, there are 10 different companies that provide tutorials on how to design logos. There are tons of books out there. The worst thing is that it's hard for people to find what's the best resource out there to learn from. And that's what we are trying to do in LearningJar. We are trying to capture all this informal education data, so now we can smartly suggest to you the best resources that you can learn from.
Wesley, what do you think?
What's the business here? I'm trying to understand where the inflow of money is. Is it recruiters paying you to train people to do it? Is it me as a job searcher who would pay you to help me find a
Or
a
affiliate
job?
fees? Do you get paid?
Yeah, what's the business?
So the biggest revenue model for us is definitely the job market, right? So now that we have started collecting data on informal skills people are developing, we can definitely take that to corporations and companies.
So have you talked to corporations about whether they pay you for this? If I was a recruiter in a very, very difficult market, I would pay for top candidates if you're able to source, MIT graduates for engineering or so forth. Is that something that you've explored?
So we've actually talked to Google HR amongst other companies, and they have told us that they're looking at other resources to find the best candidates today. Degree is just one way, and its credentials have been the past, but now they want new ways to evaluate candidates, and this can be it.
Let's take Google HR as an example, because Google's sort of an example of somebody in the Valley that's super picky on who they hire.
Yeah.
Are the candidates that you're driving to companies like Google the ones that they would hire, or is it a different set? I'm trying to explore what you think what you're sourcing right now, and sort of where the inflow of money sort of happens.
So most of the candidates that we have sourced right now, or the people that are coming and using LearningJar, are the self-motivated learners that want to keep learning new skills, and therefore they are the type of people that will easily adapt and learn in new environments. So those are the type of people that Google would hire. We're very new. We just launched our closed beta. 3 days we had 2,000 people on our website. We haven't yet circled back with Google and showed them the type of candidates coming to LearningJar to see, how we can close the loop. But we have already been in conversation.
Drew, Sandeep?
Yeah, it just seems to me that the value for companies that are looking for people that use the site are some types of checks and balances to say that these things were completed. But it looked like people were just checking them off and saying, "Yeah, I did it."
Yeah, how do you
prove it ends up on their
page?
page.
If I just go on there and I just run through every Photoshop course, and then I try to go work at a design house, how do you know that I actually did it?
If I were in a job at Google, the first thing I'd do is check off every single box and pretend I took every single course, just so that if Google were hiring, they'd notice it.
So how do you
I
have
think
a
that's
reverse
why we have a
incentive?
portfolio view and challenge view. So you take on the challenge to prove what you have learned, right? So if you went to learn how to design a logo, you upload your logo design to show what you have done.
Right.
So in a way,
and how do you know I didn't just pick the best logo on Behance and put it up there?
It's something to think about as you build
yeah,
out your product.
definitely something we have to think
I mean, I think that
at least for companies to take it serious as a way to find candidates.
I think what you're hearing is there might be an opportunity to spend even more time proving that they actually have the skill. Like, I might actually pay, if I'm a person who just took all the Photoshop courses on Lynda or Treehouse or for free, I might actually pay you $100 to certify that I actually am good. And you could do an online test or something, or a live Skype where you actually run me through the test. I mean, there might be a big opportunity there to actually credential and prove it to Google that this person did in fact make that logo.
Yeah,
and
we are
here's their
actively
process.
looking into the best credentialing. So Project Upload is today, but we are looking at other avenues.
I think about focusing a lot on markets where hiring is tough. Engineering is huge. Not graphic designers, but user interaction designers are another sort of area where this is huge. I think if you're focusing on people who are photographers, there's a lot of photographers out there, and it's very easy for me to just dial up the Yellow Pages and hire one for a reasonable price. But places where there are a constrained amount of hiring with people with super specialized skills like software engineering or algorithmic development or big data analysis are areas where I would spend a lot of time. So something to think about as you build out
what's the site where you can hire people to do work and watch their desktops as they do it?
Odesk?
Odesk. Yeah. If you had an Odesk type functionality where you did some of those crazy questions Google asks you, or you were given, like, you're a database program and you put somebody into a database that was corrupted and they walk you through with their microphone what they're doing and why, and then the person at Google can actually watch 20 candidates in a row solve the problem on an Odesk-like
so we have actually been in talks with Odesk. They want to use LearningJar so people can take their LearningJar into Odesk to prove that they've learned skills. So we are definitely working with them.
Any thoughts, Sandeep? Or?
I think just similar there. If I were using it for our own candidates, I just want a way to verify that they haven't just gone through.
Yeah, you hire hundreds of developers, so you want to. How do you know that they do it? Do you run code tests when they come in?
We do basically coding tests, and and for design people, we basically look through their portfolios of what they've done.
Yeah. So the thing that we wrestle with in schools all the time is who gets to define what mastery is and how do you show it at the student level. And so I was thinking about that in this product, and then I actually kind of came around at the end, and I'm not sure it's as important because if I'm going to hire someone and I'm looking at this online, the first thing I might do is ask them, can you replicate it or show me another version of it to really prove they did it?
Right, but in the filtering process...
Right, so we might filter...
I know that Sandeep gets thousands of resumes a year. Like, if you could start with the 100 best, and that makes your job so much easier. So anyway, lots of opportunity and a great start.
You don't have this view. You can't see people's informal education.
Wow, there's still a lot of people here. Hey, we got one more to go. Thanks, LearningJar.